Hollywood celebrities have suddenly gone eerily quiet when it comes to politics and the election. So, did they suddenly clear themselves of the TDS that has plagued them for so long? Well, folks, we don't think you should have that hope. Instead, there may be something utterly despicable that's really going on. Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome back to the Pro Channel, where we handle spicy topics on occasion. And today is one such day. Happy Sunday to everybody out there. We are going to explain entertainment and keep you ahead of the culture curve. And in doing so today, we have to go to places that we don't like to be. And that is into discussing things of a highly criminal nature, potentially. Folks, we're going to start off with the Vigilant Fox over on X. As we do, click the like button, and here we go. TMZ founder, Hollywood is in a state of panic over the Diddy stuff. Folks, as we do this, I just want to send a shout out to the quartering. Jeremy over there had this and put this out there for people to see. We're going to combine this with news that just broke over the weekend, but I want you to see this first. We also always try to give credit where it's due. So credit goes to TMZ, credit goes to the Vigilant Fox, and credit goes to Jeremy of the quartering for putting a spotlight on this. One of the quotes here says, "Every celebrity in the world seems to have gone to one of these white parties. Everybody wanted to go. And if you got an invitation, you went. So you can pretty much count on every high-profile celebrity that they've been to one of these parties." I want to have Harvey, I think it's Levan, talk about this, folks. We'll let you listen in. I'll give my commentary on it, but then we're going to go to the news that's breaking this weekend, and it will explain, I think, why celebrities have gone silent even after the Harvey stuff. Remember, they were all out there telling you, preaching to you about how they were going to be the moral, the moral foundation of the nation, switching us all over into a more cognizant, wareful, just society where we would not allow any more of those pesky Harveys to ever come back up again. And he was and is truly, I believe, a sinister, sinister man. But it turns out there may have been something far worse, perhaps, depends on how you measure it, and they may have been participatory in all of it. We'll explain. Here's the video.
It is true that Hollywood gets loud very quickly in certain cases. They did certainly with Harvey Weinstein and others. They have been very, very silent here. And I agree with you. I don't think just because, look, every celebrity in the world seems to have gone to one of these white parties. I mean, everybody wanted to go, and if you got an invitation, you went.
Also, big thank you to News Nation for even doing this interview. A lot of the legacy dinosaur stations, they're never, ever, ever going to cover this sort of thing. That's why you come to places like this. That's why you go to News Nation. That's why you go to the quartering. That's why you go to YouTube. That's why you go to X, because the other places simply would never talk about this.
So you can pretty much count everybody high profile has been to one of these parties. That's not disqualifying. That doesn't mean it's untoward. We're not talking about white parties. We're talking about after parties. We're talking about threesomes. We're talking about all sorts of things.
We're also talking about who all knew what happened after the regular party ended. That is an important question to ask. Was it truly an absolutely out there secret? Folks, again, don't go anywhere. We're going to get to the weekend news that just broke, and I'll show you why celebrities are beginning to not want to ever broach the topic. And it has to do with the election. You'll see why in just a moment.
That are not those parties. But that said, there are lots of videos that Diddy kept over the years that have been now seized by the feds. And a lot of these videos are also going to some of the civil lawyers. Busby told us he has gotten a slew of these videos.
As we continue to watch, folks, I want you to think about somebody we have not mentioned yet. We talked about Harvey. You're hearing about Diddy. The next question is, depending on who takes over as the head of the Justice Department, it's why that Gates thing is such a big deal. It's why people are apoplectic about it. They're livid because they're terrified of losing control, because the third person we haven't talked about, remember the guy who had the island? Remember the list that is not out there? Remember how nobody else seems to have gotten in trouble for that? Whoever's in charge of the Justice Department now has the opportunity to figure out the island guy, sorry we can't say his name, the Diddy list, and Harvey's list. What do you think's at stake for the basically PR arm of the far left, which is, by the way, Hollywood celebrities? What's at stake? We'll talk about it in just a minute.
And I think there's just panic in Hollywood. Am I on that video? Was I in some situation in 1999 or 2002 where it might be interpreted a certain way or might end up in trial? I think there's a lot of panic.
We'll pause there, folks. We'll go to this. All right, breaking over the weekend as promised. This out of the Associated Press. Diddy is trying to obstruct justice from jail, prosecutors say. Here's what it says. Diddy has tried to reach out to prospective witnesses and influence public opinion from jail in a bid to affect potential jurors for his upcoming trial. Prosecutors claimed in a court filing urging a judge to reject the latest bail request. The government accusations were made, and this is what really matters. Listen to this closely, folks. The government accusations were made in a Manhattan federal court filing late Friday. What does that mean? It means this is in the purview of the feds. It's under the purview of the Justice Department. And the Justice Department is responding to what appears to be efforts, allegedly, to influence witnesses. Now, how do you influence witnesses? You either do so through reward or risk. And it seems that risk is at the top of why the judge is being asked to say tisk, tisk, and more to Diddy. Now, what does all this mean in terms of the election that we were talking about? Why has Hollywood gone silent? Well, folks, who is in charge of the Justice Department will determine how hard they want to go at the island guy, the Harvey guy, and the Diddy guy. And if it goes hard into two of those, the island guy and the Diddy guy, you are potentially looking at 2 years, 3 years, 4 years, or more if a second administration comes in following Trump that continues to be of that same mindset. So let's say a J.D. Vance comes in after that, and Hollywood doesn't know. None of us know what's going to happen here. But if you have an attorney general who wants to absolutely break open Hollywood, they have the potential to do that. Prosecutors wrote that a review of recorded jail calls made by Diddy shows he has asked family members to reach out to victims and witnesses and to create narratives to influence the jury pool. Goes on to talk about swaying public opinion. Folks, here's something to think about. At the same time that the Hollywood celebrities were telling you, oh no, this Harvey guy, we didn't know. And those of us who did know, now we're going to get our justice and we're going to fix this. We're going to fix this and we're going to show America the way. At the same time that they were pointing fingers at Harvey, they had 3 fingers pointing back at them. Because everybody who was involved with Diddy likely knew what Diddy was doing. It doesn't matter necessarily if they engaged in the after parties. You're telling me that these people did not hear about what happens if you stay. I find that to be a little bit difficult to believe. So, if it goes beyond credulity just a wee bit, perhaps we should not be so eager to buy into it, especially given the depravity that we've seen out of Hollywood. And for that, perhaps there's good reason to take notice that Disney and other companies seem to be very hastily removing themselves from politics. Perhaps it is that Hollywood fears what might be coming down upon it because for the first time in forever, well, entertainment could be looking at a very entertaining scenario where they face the gavel in a way that they have never faced before. Could this be the time when Rico is turned against the celebrity elites? I don't know, but if it happens, we'll be following it likely on the new media, not the dinosaur media, and you'll know where to go to get your news. Folks, I don't want to just put this as being a story about the corruption of Hollywood, though. Please allow me just a few moments to give a life application for all of us. Folks, I would just encourage you that there's something to be learned from this, and that is that there are times in our lives when we put ourselves into positions of unfortunate and unnecessary vulnerability. And there are people and places that do not deserve our vulnerability. You should be vulnerable with those who love you dearly. You should not be vulnerable with predators. There's a reason that cats don't show the soft side of their tummy to a predator ready to kill them, but they will to their owner. Same thing for dogs and all other pets. We're not taking favorites here. But folks, I'm telling you, that's an analogy for you in your life. And these celebrities put themselves in very vulnerable positions due to the feeling that they had to participate in this in order to get ahead in Hollywood. It was a bad call. It was a bad decision. Whether or not it gave them monetary success, whether or not it gave them prestige, it undermined their principles greatly. And now the legacies of many big names stand to be absolutely tarnished. Sort of in the same way that the MLB saw an entire generation of stars struck from having any kind of starstruck experience because of steroids. Such might be the case for Hollywood, where we look at this and say, well, it was nice to see all of those celebrities and watch their movies up until I knew that they did this and this and this because they wanted to be in bed with Diddy, so to speak. Folks, the only thing we want out of you has nothing to do with the bed. It has nothing to do with making you vulnerable in any way. We want you to prosper. And we would ask that you help us prosper. Consider clicking the like button, share, subscribe, click it and stick it to those pesky algorithms. It is the notification bell. Drop a comment down below. Let us know your thoughts on the matter. And folks, remember to stay away from what so many of these celebrities now face and ask yourself as we go forward, is this why Hollywood has been so partisan? Perhaps they had self-interest in not having a Justice Department that would ever be aimed at them. Until the next time we have the joy of being joined with you, we bid you adieu this way, wherever you are and whatever you're doing. Keep learning, keep growing, and folks, in spite of some of the corruption that exists around our world, keep having fun.
This is Wilton the Troll reporting for That's Park Place, and I'm surrounded by loving and adoring people who are peacefully trying to make sure that poor kids aren't cold in the winter. And just behind me, you can see a totally natural bonfire for baking cookies or making marshmallows.
Yeah, so, Wilson, we really appreciate the effort and stuff, but we're looking for real and, accurate news reporting on that Park Place.
So not like most news outlets, huh?
No.